When we last left Buck, he was engaged in a battle to the death with Spitz, the lead dog. Realizing that Spitz was a better fighter, Buck played his hand tactfully, and instead of going for Spitz's throat, he disabled him by breaking his leg. Spitz, unable to move, is finished off by Buck. The next day, Francois and Perrault are harnessing up the dogs for another trek across the tundra. Seeing that Spitz is missing, they start to put a dog called Solex in the lead position, but Buck starts growling and moves to the front of the line, asserting himself as the top dog. Francois and Perrault recognize his tenacity, and Buck becomes the leader of the pack. He excels at his position, doing everything even better than Spitz. One day, Francois and Perrault get called to another part of the territory for a different job, so they sell the dogs to a Scotsman, a gentleman from Scotland. This man takes them towards the town of Dawson, and after pulling a very heavy load for a very long time, the dogs lie down to rest for the night. In the next passage, Buck relaxes by a fire and has vivid dreams that allude to the fact that he's gradually becoming more primordial. Call of the Wild, Chapter 4. Buck was not homesick. Such memories had no power over him. Far more potent were the memories of his heredity that gave things he had never seen before a seeming familiarity. The instincts quickened and became alive again. Sometimes he crouched there, blinking dreamily at the flames. It seemed that the flames were of another fire, and that as he crouched by this fire he saw another and different man from the half-breed cook before him. This other man was shorter of leg and longer of arm, with muscles that were stringy and knotty rather than rounded and swelling. The hair of this man was long and matted, and his head slanted back under it from the eyes. He uttered strange sounds and seemed afraid of the darkness, into which he peered continually, clutching in his hand a stick with a heavy stone made fast to the end. He stood on legs that bent at the knees, and beyond that fire in the circling darkness Buck could see many gleaming coals, 2 by 2, which he knew to be the eyes of great beasts of prey. And dreaming there by the Yukon bank with lazy eyes blinking at the fire, these sounds and sights of another world would make the hair to rise along his back and stand on end across his shoulders and up his neck, till he whimpered low and suppressedly, or growled softly, and the half-breed cook shouted at him, "Hey, you Buck, wake up!" Whereupon the other world would vanish and the real world come into his eyes, and he would get up and yawn and stretch as though he had been asleep.